welcome to Head to Head on UATV. I'm Vivica Williams, and today we're joined by Dr. Johnson Aniki, one of the leaders of the African community here in Ukraine. He's lived in Ukraine for over 20 years and is here today to discuss the African community in Ukraine. Thank you so much for being with us today.
It's a pleasure.
So you've been here 20 years.
36 years.
36 years.
Yes.
When did you first come and what brought you to Ukraine?
1981.
What brought you to Ukraine?
I came as a student. I studied, got my master's, went into postgraduate studies, got my PhD, and I started doing business here.
Oh, wow. So you studied, so what type of business do you run here?
Okay, we deal in medical equipment. We sell, we repair, we install. We've been doing that now for more than 20 years.
Oh, wow. And you were heavily involved in the African community.
Yes.
Here. So tell me about what type of work you do with the African community.
Well, there was a time Africans were not feeling good in this country. Mass, or not actually mass, I think 2006, when Africans were killed, being attacked. Oh. We fought against xenophobia, we fought against that. We took it to the highest level, not only in Ukraine, even to European Union and to United Nations. After going through those fights, I think the whole thing came to be stabilized now. Africans, they feel comfortable now. They can move out now. They're not being threatened. There's no risk to their lives now.
And when did this start to change, really? I know 2012 was instrumental.
Yes, that's Euro 2012, after the Euro Championship that took place in Kyiv. You see, that was the period Ukrainians were able to come en masse in contact with foreigners. And before that, the authority, the police, the security agents, they did a lot of homework with the hooligans, with the football fans. And when a lot of foreigners came for the Euro 2012, you see, they were, for the first time in their lives, you see, they got in touch with foreigners, including blacks. And a lot of changes happened after that. And black people started feeling comfortable in Ukraine.
Wonderful. And so this is also, as I remember, a time when afterwards they said there were a major decrease in the level of discrimination and attacks on people of color here in Ukraine.
Yes, and before the decrease came, there was a law passed. You know, that's anti-racial law. Even calling somebody nigger or this and that is, you have to pay, you pay fine for that now. You see, the Euro 2012 actually brought that awareness that foreigners are not as harmful or as dangerous as they think. And things actually changed even from the security agents. If those days in Kyiv, for a black man to walk even on the street, police could stop you and ask for a document. Yes. But after Euro 2012, in fact, they will even greet you now and ask you, how are you feeling in our country? They are very friendly now.
And after, what about with Euromaidan? How did things after Euromaidan change?
Euromaidan too, okay, those of us living here for a long time, we took active part too. We had this expert for Euromaidan. I was an active member too. We organized a lot of demonstrations practically every Sunday that time too in support of Ukrainian country or Ukrainian unity. Due to all those things, we became very respected because we felt whatever is happening in this country, we cannot stay aside. We are part of the society, and we cannot be indifferent to whatever is happening in Ukraine.
Wow. Well, and tell me about what's the size, then, of the African community here in Ukraine?
As of today in Ukraine, we have more than 20,000 African communities. As of today, it consists of those who finished from this country, got educated, finished their universities, and they stay behind, got married, children finished behind. There were equally some groups, too, whose parents got married for one reason or the other during Soviet Union. The wives could not join them in Africa. They remained stranded here with their children. The people we call here Mulatka or the half-caste group and all those things. But majority of Africans studying in Ukraine, they're mainly students from African countries. Yes, majority, more than even 60% are students that came here to study, finish their study, and go back to Africa to develop their countries.
So we see then, so the African community that is here, that are now expats, what type of fields do you see Africans working in? Because I'll tell you, here in Kyiv, one of the major things I noticed was that I don't visibly see people of color. Most, in other countries, especially the U.S., where I'm from, you see people of color working in restaurants and in stores. It's just very visible. And this was one of the major things I didn't see here, was in just regular restaurants or stores. So where are Africans working here?
We still have this complex, the inferiority complex. Besides that, it's not everywhere they employ an African. Most Africans in Ukraine here, majority of Africans, in fact, they're either doing their own business. We even employ Ukrainians in our businesses, right, in Ukraine here. A majority, I call them a set of people who were on their trip, on their way to Europe in early 90s and got stranded here. They are the vast majority you find in markets, who sell maybe canvases, goods to the people, and those things. But coming to the half-caste groups now, most of them are not educated. They couldn't make it to the university. So we cannot call them qualified, especially that could be employed.
So you're speaking about like the Afro-Ukrainians.
The Afro-Ukrainians, yes. But besides, we have a lot of Africans doing good businesses in Ukraine. There are Africans, they own perfumery factory. We have the biggest hatchery farm in Zaporozhye is owned by Nigerian. But let me tell you something.
For like chickens, hatchery
yes,
farm.
Hatchery, yes.
But owned by a Nigerian. Oh,
yes,
wonderful.
by Nigerian. Let me tell you something. You see, Africans, they are scared to show their faces. They are scared of cameras. They don't want to be publicized, They prefer doing their businesses in quietness, in privacy, without being exposed. It's very difficult to even convince an African to come to a program as we are doing now. So we have a lot of Africans doing fine in Ukraine. They're okay, they're comfortable.
When do we see Africans or African Ukrainians out and celebrating their culture or other events like this?
We have what we call African Day in Cave here. It takes place 25th of May every year, where we celebrate every country, embassies, citizens of Africa. They come together, show their culture, fashion parade, cultural dances, and all those things. It happens every year. And that's the only occasion all Africans come together in Ukraine, 25th of May every year.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. We hope I will definitely have you back in, and we'll talk more about doing business in Ukraine and for other minority communities here from Africa and African Ukrainians.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Today we're joined by Dr. Johnson Aniki. We spoke about the African community in Ukraine. Thank you for watching UATV.